Social media is training us to compare our lives instead of appreciating everything we are. No wonder why everyone is always depressed. This was said by Bill Murray. We have all compared ourselves to someone on social media at least once in our lives, whether it was physically, emotionally, or even spiritually. Well, I'm here today to discuss how social media affects ourselves, our self image, and self esteem. I understand there may be some people who might say, if you're going to be sensitive, then get off social media, or just make your accounts private. The issue is greater than that. We shouldn't have to limit ourselves just because people on social media want to put us down. Whether you realize it or not, social media affects you and the people around you. You may think you're fine, you know how to deal with Instagram trolls, you can get past this. But there could be people in your life that are just not as strong as you are and are having difficulty dealing with all these negative emotions. I can say firsthand that being on Instagram and seeing all these influencers makes me feel bad sometimes. I look at their pictures and think, wow, I wish I had their body, or I wish I was as skinny as she is. When someone is insecure, you can't help but constantly compare yourself to all these beautiful women you see online. There are times where you think there has to be someone out there for me. And then you go online and see all these guys fat shame thicker girls while they praise all these slimmer ones. First, we are going to be discussing how people constantly compare themselves to others. Secondly, the constant need for validation. Next, relationships, and lastly, the overall impact. Now that we know what we are going to be discussing, let's have a first look at how society always compares themselves to others. With all the people on social media posting pictures and videos, living their best lives, we feel the need to compare ourselves to those who paint a picture perfect one. Jessica Chow, a health corps intern, stated that we as a society would much rather post a picture where we are hanging out and smiling than when we are crying alone at night eating a pint of ice cream. We will compare ourselves to total strangers just because they look like they have the best lives according to what they decide to post on their social media. We have even based our relationship expectations on what we see online. There are so many couples on social media who post pictures of their spouses being kind to them and giving them gifts, and automatically people will repost it with the caption hashtag couple goals, or if my boyfriend isn't like this, I don't want him. Yet we have no idea how these couples are behind closed doors. For all we know, they can't even stand each other. What comes after comparing ourselves to others? The constant need for validation. After making a post, we need to see people interacting. We need likes and comments, because if they don't, then we feel insecure. I can say personally that if I make a tweet, I give it a good hour before I check and see if it has any likes or comments. And if it doesn't, then I'll delete it. I would delete my post if it had no interaction, because my mind would automatically move to who saw it and didn't care for it, and I would get embarrassed. I think to myself, maybe I only thought it was funny, or I look dumb, or I just begin to second guess myself. The constant worry of likes and comments can be stressful and harmful. Alyssa Morez published an article where she expresses it is normal to check your likes and comments once a while, but once you get to the point of obsession, it isn't healthy anymore. You are now wasting your time and energy on these posts, and it could lead to anxiety and depression. The constant need for validation could harm you and your relationships, whether they're romantic or not. Social media seems to be destroying more relationships day by day. People will do anything for likes and views. Couples will post anything to make to make it seem like they're hashtag couple goals. Couples will always Couples have always liked to show off their relationships, but now it seems like they are more interested in likes. There are people who will post cute videos of their partner doing grand gestures for them just so they meet that expectation of couple goals. They will make this unnecessary expectation just so they can make people think their relationship is better, when in reality, everyone's relationship is unique in their own way. Jealousy and friends can become issues. Sometimes friends get jealous or upset when they feel they are being left out. For example, your friend makes a post and tags other people but forgets to tag you. Now you're sitting there thinking there's a problem, or maybe you're even feeling bad because you don't understand why they would leave you out, which ultimately leads you to start overthinking, stressing out, and even getting anxiety, which isn't healthy. We have gone over the comparing yourself phase, the need for validation, relationships. Now we need to discuss the overall impact. Overall, social media can have a negative toll on a person's life. Social media has always been a place of judgment, but now having platforms where people can hide behind their computer screens makes them believe they don't have to face the consequences when they leave a hateful comment. Even having Instagram models and social media influencers, there's a greater pressure on women to try to fit this persona. It seems as though you can't get a break on social media, because if you try to be confident, you get called being full of yourself. But then you also get called ugly because of your attitude. Now, I would like you to ask yourself if you have ever compared yourself to someone on social media, and to check on your friends and tell them they are perfectly fine the way they are. Ultimately, social media has helped cowards find a place where they feel safe to leave a hateful or nasty comments for their own pleasure. Meanwhile, their victims are left hurt and damaged. Thank you.